meteorologist Mark Molnar as your host for Weather Northeastern. Let's get into some viewer sent in videos here. Lucas from the Linden, Texas area showing off a beautiful sunset here. Look at the layers of clouds with some cirrus and altocumulus, even some stratus here in the background in the lower layers. And look at the play on lighting here. Lucas showing off some nice weather, springtime conditions here in Linden finally, after a bout of wintry conditions back in February. Let's get right into his next video. You can hear the bird chirping. Looks like a young jay here across the piney woods here of Linden, Texas. You can see spring is sprung across this area, and be careful, there's a lot of flood watches and flood warnings across the area, especially to the north and to the east of Linden, Texas, where there's plenty of flooding going on, especially up and down the Mississippi Delta as well, east of Linden here. So look at this, very spring-like indeed. So thank you, Lucas, for sending the essence of spring even to us northerners here. Let's get right into precipitation totals. Look at out west here. Enjoy this beneficial rain, because this will be a thing of the past next weekend as we slip back into an old but familiar pattern. Here back across the east, take a look at this. We've got conditions going downhill across the central Mississippi River Valley, the southern Mississippi River Valley, up through the Ohio River Valley, the mid-Atlantic, and up to portions of New England, where once you get north of the Adirondacks and White Mountains here on northward, we could see a full-blown snowstorm going on north of that frontal boundary where the low-pressure system tracks. So let's get right into the pattern, the hazards for the eastern part of the United States. Of course, in the darker green, Mississippi River Valley, Ohio River Valley, up to portions of western New York, Pennsylvania, bordering Lake Ontario, we could see some flooding with lots of rain falling on top areas that had a very deep snowpack this winter. So we're going to have lots of runoff developing across the area. Here further north into southeast Canada, portions of Ontario, southern Quebec, portions of Maine, and into Nova Scotia, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and the Adirondacks and White Mountains, we could be looking at a solid 4 to 8 inches of snow with locally higher amounts to a foot possible. To my Canadian viewers, that's a solid 15 to 30 centimeters of snow likely. So let's get right into, of course, that low pressure system that will ride across the upper Great Lakes into the northeast here with some energy as well to the south. Those will combine forces to create some heavy rain conditions here this weekend across the east. Let's get right into the pattern for next week. Of course, this looks like the old familiar pattern that we've been stuck in the last couple years, unfortunately. Big mega ridge developing out west here. That's pushing all the systems north, well north into northwestern North America, where they don't need to be. They need to be down here where they can produce some beneficial rains. But back east here, you guessed it, we're back to that polar vortex next weekend into the following week, the last week of March, where we could be dealing with some tremendous amount of what could be the potential for some East Coast snowstorms, likely, with lots of cold air developing. So we'll keep an eye on it here. This old familiar pattern keeps wanting to come back to us. So that being said, let's take a look at snowfall totals here across southeast Canada, getting into southern Ontario, southern Quebec. That's where we'll see a lion's share of the snow from Ottawa just to the north of Sudbury over here, and then eventually back east towards portions of the northern Adirondacks, northern White Mountains, into northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and down across the state of Maine. Advisory criteria snow is likely, probably on the order of 3 to as much as 6 inches of snow, all the way down through portions of Nova Scotia. You could be getting upwards of the potential 10 to 20 centimeters, with locally higher amounts to 25 centimeters is not out of the question. So that being said here, the bullseye, the heaviest snow, looks right across southern Ontario and southern Quebec here, from the corridor from Ottawa over to Montreal. That's where we could see the potential for 25 plus centimeters of snow, upwards of the potential foot possible. So lots of snow up north of the Canadian border here. Let's get right into those surface maps. Saturday, look at this heavy rain developing across the upper Ohio Valley, lower Great Lakes here, over towards Binghamton, Scranton, Harrisburg, Susquehanna River Valley, Catskills, Poconos, even getting in on the rain. Maybe a period of wet snow to start out, but the warm air lifts to the north and you get the Adirondacks and the White Mountains. And northward here, heavy snowstorm likely across portions just north of Toronto, over towards Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City, over towards just south of Caribou, mainly Augusta and Portland, picking up a good couple inches to maybe as much as 4, 5, 6 inches locally. Higher amounts, Nova Scotia getting hit as well with those 10 to as much as 20 centimeters locally higher. And of course, temperatures will be the big story too. Look at this big gradient of temperatures here across the north. You'll see those 20s and 30s, but here to the south, look at this, Harrisburg getting up near 50, as well as New York City, portions of just south of Interstate 80. That's where the divide will be between the very warm air and very moist air to the much cooler air to the north. So the battleground continues heading on into Sunday. Take a look at this. We start to clear things out a little bit. We got some wraparound with this system as it tries to spin off the coast here. So spinning some snow showers and flurries and some wet snowflakes, as well as some rain showers back inland here across much of the Northeast. Temperatures cooling down. 30s will be the rule, along with lower 40s across much of the Susquehanna River Valley, lower Susquehanna River Valley towards portions of the Great Lakes. Snow starting to wind down here in southeast Canada into your Monday. Take a look at this. High pressure starts to build in from the southwest. This will be your nicest day with temperatures getting up near 50 in many locations in the Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Poconos and Catskills holding in the low to mid 40s up towards portions of southern New England. That's where we start to get some warming as well into the lower to mid 40s, some areas near 50. But it's Tuesday. Look at this. Double fronts moving through. That means the start of the leading edge of much colder air you see here in northern New England, remaining quite chilly to say the least over the next several days to support those snowflakes behind these frontal boundaries. So you get temperatures dropping down easily into the 20s, maybe even some teens here in southeast Canada. That being said, here across much of New York and Pennsylvania, Ohio, the lower Great Lakes will even start to cool down into the upper 20s, lower to mid 30s for highs as well. So that being said, that's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern. I'm going to have a 5-day outlook here in 10 seconds. From Binghamton to Scranton to Elmira, Susquehanna region of upstate New York, northeast Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark.com, it's Twitter at WX Northeastern, Google Plus at MeteoMark. 5-day. Take a look at this. Temperatures Saturday looking near 50 in some locations of the Twin Tiers. Poconos and Catskills holding into the lower to mid 40s. Rainfall up to a half to 3/4 of an inch heading on into your Sunday. That's where temperatures cool down into the upper 30s for highs. Blustery and colder with scattered rain and snow showers likely heading on into your Sunday here, or Monday and Tuesday. Monday, your nicest day, sunny, highs near 50 to 55, but then the bottom drops out for Tuesday and Wednesday. Look at this, by Wednesday, we may not even struggle to hit 32, freezing. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.